Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's April 26th and it's time for a garden tour. Well, we're going to start here at the lower garden, and you're going to have to excuse the neighbor's dog. It doesn't like when ours comes down and barks a lot, but we have got down here. We've laid our corn by. We've tilled the weeds in between. It's doing pretty good. Some I actually maybe laid by too much and kind of buried it, but we're not going to worry too much about that. Our green beans here are doing real well. Our purple hull peas are a little slow. Purple hull peas like a lot of heat, and they're doing pretty good down towards the other end down there, but they're not doing so good right down here. Our sweet potato slips are doing good. We've got all our couple rows of purple ones here and got plenty of nut grass. We're going to try to see how this does this year with it. Now these are orange ones. We didn't have that many, and then we put a few purples in, and then we got some Covingtons in the mail and put those out. Our cantaloupes are doing good. In fact, they're starting to look like they're starting to put on little blooms, so won't be long. They've kind of got a hold and they're doing good. The melons, there's Israel cantaloupes, there's honeydews in there, and some Rocky Ford green cantaloupes. Now our watermelons here aren't doing too good. I kind of got to pause there because this here is leaf cutters. Now we'll have to find out where the mound is and spray them, but they've come in and they've cut a lot of these watermelons. We've been trying to keep an eye on them, and I'll just have to follow their trail out and see where they're going, because you just watch them carrying leaves and a lot of times you can see their trail. So I'll have to do that this morning. This batch here, we did lose a couple, but this is going to be due to not enough moisture. The compost seems to dry out a little bit quicker than the ground. Most of them's got a hold, so they should take off. We still have this area up here to plant. Looks like we probably had a rabbit or something come through here, but anyway, I haven't really decided whether I want to put in some more watermelons or maybe some peas. We don't really need purple hull peas this year, but we might do some for the market. Next, we'll stop here at the potato garden, and we have a really good bunch of potatoes. We do have a few gaps in here, which that was when we buried them all early and some didn't come back. They're doing really good. You can see the ground cracking here, so that's a good sign. These still have roughly about another month to go. Now on our German butterballs that we had done our unconventional planting, they are coming back. These will have to go probably a while longer. I think they do take longer to grow. We do have about 8. We've been watching them pretty close. You see we have some chew marks here, and early on we had a few potato bugs out here, and of course we vacuumed them up, and then we come back with some mixture of our spinosad product and some neem oil, and it looks like it's taking care of them, because that's been a couple of weeks since we had that. And we come in here and finally got the centers tilled, so we got down a lot of that grass. And as I was doing that a couple of days ago, I didn't see any any bugs return. We come out here every few days and give them another look, but they are looking real good. We're supposed to be getting some rain here pretty soon. I do enjoy when I start seeing it crack. In fact, it's kind of hard not to want to just dig up under here and find a potato. I found some earlier, but nothing real close to the surface there. We'll let them go. It is one of those things to where you can't resist to get those early potatoes. But the green beans have a few more weeks, so we'll wait on them to get our first harvest, and we'll come in here and steal us a few potatoes out from under these. Now we'll take a look at the main garden here. And things are looking pretty good. I guess we'll start up here at the herbs, or chives here are really coming back on. Won't be long. We probably need to freeze dry another batch. We're fixing to do some trimming in here on our oregano, and we'll freeze dry some of it. We've still only got 3 of our ginger coming up. We'll give it more time for sure. None of our turmeric's up yet. Now we did add some herbs. We got our feverfew planted in here, and we purchased some herbs from Azure, and I'll put a link in the description to Azure. But they do have live plants too. I have a hard time growing stevia, so I got me a couple of stevia plants, and I really didn't know what yarrow was looking like, so I got me 3 little yarrow plants too. Our tarragon's going crazy, and our summer savory's starting to come out. Our different varieties of basil, we're gonna harvest some of this. It's definitely, we want to keep not too many seeds in, but like I say, we've got 4 different varieties: lemon basil, lime basil, cinnamon basil, and regular basil. But this is getting big enough now. We'll cut some, take it to the market. It's time to do our, I think this was spearmint. I think I looked off in here and found the tag, but we're going to harvest this, and we're going to harvest our bee balm, or lemon balm. I don't know why I keep calling it bee balm, but it definitely needs taken care of. Our mushroom plants are doing good. In fact, some looks like they're coming up maybe to flower. And our catnip needs harvested and processed too. Now these were the latest batch onions, and you can see these are bulbing up. In fact, they're bulbing up pretty nice. Right now it's got about a 2.5 inch bulb on these. I didn't expect them to get too carried away, being how late they were planted, but they are doing good. Our red onions, pretty much everything that's been bolting is kind of stopped now, so these are bulbing up. We've been harvesting some of our little head lettuce here. We really had a bunch of aphids this year, so we had to pull out a lot of our lettuces. Our leek, these have been, we've been thinning them out every other one, and you can see they're starting to get a little bit of size to them, about 3/4 inch there. So these will be pretty good. Now we do have, last week we harvested here, and this week we'll harvest in here. These are still in there thick. Now our sunchokes, or Jerusalem artichokes, are doing good. They're coming on, and so hopefully it won't be too long. They'll be putting out some beautiful flowers. Now our garlic, we've got a few scapes left that we'll harvest this week. We might get a bunch or two. And we'll give it just a little more time. Keep saying a little more time, a little more time, and hopefully it'll go ahead and take off there. Now we've got some more squash that we put out. Now these squash were set in the cell trays for quite a bit longer than the others, and we talked about that last week. You can see how they're trying to produce little bee squash, and they're not very big. So there's blooming up a storm, but they'll probably, at the rate it's going, these will probably have to be pulled out, and we'll just get another batch going maybe today so we can replace those. The others are starting to produce now, and they're starting to get male flowers, so they are holding their squash now. We had picked some earlier. Now this plant, I don't know what happened. It wasn't ants, and it could have been, maybe it got vine borers or something. I don't know, but anyway, it is toast. It'll have to come out of there. Or other onions that survived the winter. Now these are pretty good sized bulbs. I'd say that's about 4 inches or so. But they're bulbing up nice, most of them. These squash are really producing. But what I want to talk about with these onions now, when the onion dies back and it comes with multiple onions, I said, well, we're going to lose a lot of our onion crop. But as you can see, these multiple onions, and I'll put my hand there for size, are getting decent sized onions in there. She's picking squash today for the market, and a lot of these are that way as far as their there might be 2 onions, but there's a good amount of onion there, and that's the main thing is volume, unless you're looking for big slicers. Now our red ones hadn't seemed to be bulbing as much. Now normally I'd leave my broccoli in because to get side shoots, but there's some type of condition with these. I don't know what's causing it. It must be a fungal issue or something, but the end of the leaves, the way they're doing, we were picking these off, but it just seems like it keeps affecting more and more of the leaves. So what we'll do is cut these out and either compost them or give them to the chickens. The same with these. Yesterday we got the last head off of that one, and we'll go ahead and pull these out. We've got our yellow wax beans. They've got real good germination in here, and we get those out of the way and let those wax beans come in. Our sunflowers are taking hold. This should be looking nice up here. I was planning to leave this one here for seed. I don't know. I'll have to see, because it's got this same condition, and this is something that this first year for that. Our cilantro is doing good, but it is trying to bolt up. What I do a lot of times, I just come in here and snap that top off of them, and then there are multiple cilantro in here. I'll snap off multiple tops. It's still good. It tastes good and everything, but they're definitely going to seed, and that's our deal with cilantro. I'm planning to start a new batch today, and I have one behind this one ready to go. Our borage is really coming on. It puts on these beautiful flowers that the bees love them. Hopefully our bees will love them. We went and picked up a nuke of bees last night. They're still in their nuke, so we haven't transferred them into their permanent hive. We'll do that here in a couple of days. It's supposed to rain, and we figure we'd wait till it's a good warm day. It won't hurt them to be in there for a little bit. Our green beans here are blooming up a storm, and they're setting little beans there. So it won't be a couple of weeks. Maybe we can pick us some green beans. My Savoy cabbage that I letting go to seed, this really doesn't look like it's going to do good for a seed. So I'm going to take and cut it out of there. Now we planted a bunch of flowers in here, just a variety, and then these are nastrums, I think. How you pronounce it, but anyway, if I butchered it, that's what those are. They are medicinal. Our celery, a lot of people don't know about growing celery, and now this is looking pretty good. It's definitely healthy. It's put in here thick. I try to get it more upright because the more room it's got, it tends to spread out more. So it ought to do good. Our little flower corner here is doing real good. Our snapdragons, multicolored, are all blooming. The borage that's here, it's blooming. Our bachelor buttons keep growing, but the blooms ain't opened yet, so we're still waiting on them. This bell pepper over here, it's doing good. It's blooming. No noticeable size fruit yet, so it's going to be a while. Our tomatoes are really healthy, doing good. We had pruned these up one more time, and we'll talk a little bit about pruning. Is we want to keep the leaves away from the ground. Now we will probably take off some of these lower ones and one more prune because they droop down and get close. Normally we'll start seeing, if we start seeing some disease or something on these, that's when we'll take them off. But they are setting fruit and they are getting up there. Now if you're going to plant tomatoes, make sure you have enough time to take care of your tomatoes, because it takes a lot of effort. It's not really that time consuming, but it is if you have a lot, keeping them in their baskets. The early peas are still doing great. She's been harvesting them. She doesn't share any of these yet. She's really a fan of peas, and she puts as many in the freezer as she can. And so until she gets her fill in the freezer, they'll all stay here at home. Now these tomatoes here, which are Sun Gold, they are getting a good set of tomatoes on here. No ripe ones yet, but I'm still waiting for that first tomato of the season. But tomatoes like this, you really got to spend a lot of time with them, because it's like this here. It doesn't take long for it to get itself where it's outside the cage. Now, if you do have a situation where they get out like that, and we do have some, and we try to run them back in, but what you can do is you can get tomato clips, and you can just clip these tomatoes right to the side of your cage here and let them run up the side. Or as my daughter says, on hers, they get so wild, sometimes she just clips them to the cage next to them. So it works out real good, and especially when they get taller and they want to droop down, you can just run them over to the next cage, and that takes care of it. But these are all our Cherokee purples, and they're all doing good. They're up about 3 feet. And of course, this one over here is up about 4 feet. Now we have our different peppers over here. I have to always look at the tag because I have so many varieties. Now these are Ozark Giants. These are another bell pepper. And they've been blooming. Hopefully they're setting some fruit in here. They're a little older than the others, but yes, there is a little bell pepper down in there, so it won't be long. These things will really get to going. And we have some other varieties of peppers. Let's see what we got here. This is a Cajun bell. Now, it's a spicy bell pepper, but it's a smaller pepper, so we'll see how that is. That's the first year that we've done this one. Our eggplant are starting to come back. They got pretty rough from the freeze. I had to come out here with uh, some spinosad and neem oil to treat. You can see these lower limbs where they're just eat up, or these lower leaves, but the upper ones are doing pretty good because after I sprayed it, the new ones aren't having that problem. But I think it's either flea beetles, I think, what gets them. I'm not sure because I can't see the insects. We have our tomatillos over here. Tomatillos are the same way. These things grow fast. You can see this is way outside the thing. Now they are, a few of them are setting fruit. I know the purple ones over there are doing real good. Our serranos, we need to come in here and do a little picking. We got a few early peppers. You can see down in here we've got a nice little couple serranos forming. These plants, now they were really small when they came in here and start blooming, but they start getting their size even though they have blooms on them. And these peppers over here, see what we got. Okay, these are my hatch green chilies, and they haven't started blooming yet. They're still growing, and they get to be fairly good size anyway. So, but won't be long. We'll start seeing peppers form on there. And then we have a few of our habaneras that are over here. They're starting to come along. We've cleaned out all our carrots that are right here. We'll probably, after we harvest the next blossoms off this chamomile, we'll take it out of this bed, and then we'll replant it. Really haven't decided what to do on it. Now, we haven't been harvesting our asparagus anymore. We do have some that can be harvested, and I come out and eat one occasionally, but we're letting them grow on up. We could harvest a little bit longer, but we have quite a bit that is in the freezer, so we're in good shape. Our thyme bed is doing good. It's got a lot of blooming. What we're going to do is come in here too on this, and we'll cut it and freeze dry it. Let's go in we can't forget our pumpkins over here. Our little single seed challenge is taking off, going around. We do have some fruit that's set on here, and looks like we got some little bugs on here needs taking care of too. Little cucumber beetles. Probably come in here. Now this fruit, it looked like it was fertilized, but it probably wasn't there by the time these male flowers come, and it's shriveling up. So we'll probably take that off, but we do have some new ones blooming there. Won't be long. This one here is going to come out, but that is the Cinderella pumpkin. And then these other ones are the Mesquite or whatever, something. I probably butchered that too. They're both a similar style pumpkin. They're big ridge, and they're good for making potato, pumpkin puree. So if you're going to can some pumpkin, this is what these ones are for. Our okra that's up here is doing really well. It gets early sun, which makes a big difference compared to our okra that's on the other side of the greenhouse here. Now, in the greenhouse, we have harvested a lot of our cabbages. We've been harvesting some of our celery, not bunches, but just leaves. We've got our romaine lettuce. We'll be harvesting some of this week. Some of these heads are small, but that's the way we've been harvesting them, because with the heat that we get, and we've got cool and heat, it tends to make them want to bolt early. So we'll get these bigger heads out of here and take them to the market. And we did take a few and eat them. Now I have one tomato here, and I put a little cage. I wouldn't call this a tomato cage. I call that my pepper cage. But it's supposed to be a 42-day. It set in the sale tray a little long because I wasn't really going to put it out. It was some free seeds, but I went ahead and planted them, and I said, well, I'll put it in the garden. Now our dill is starting to go to seed. We still got plenty that we can harvest off of this, but I had started a new batch today because this won't last long, and we're going to need some for pickling season. Now this okra over here is a little smaller. We've had to replace a few, but it's doing good. Hopefully won't be long. Our garlic will be ready. We look like we've got a scape coming up over on this side, so we'll go down, make sure we get all those harvested. And our tobacco that we planted, it's doing really good. We have way more than what we had planned to plant, but sometimes that's what happens. Now we've cleared out this row. We're talking about maybe putting beans in here, some green beans. We've taken out all the cilantro that was here, and I say putting beans in here. I don't think we planted something in here, but I have to get my planting assist. But we took out the radishes too. The lettuce that was here started bolting, getting bitter, and some had aphids, so we've taken it out. But we've got so much producing now, or beginning to produce. Here's our cowhorn peppers. Now they're still green. They need to sit here a while and get red because I ate one of my cayennes and there was not any heat at all in it. Now our roselle is really doing good now. It's taken off. We had taken our hoops off of our rhubarb here. Now this rhubarb isn't even a year old. You know, you talk about not harvesting, but it depends on your plant and the way that it takes off. Now, you can see these leaves here. This leaf is probably 18 inches or 20 inches long, and it's a good, maybe it's 18 inches wide and maybe 24 inches long. And these are just starting out the season. Now, we did take the hoops off because they're getting so big they were up against them. We've got our shade cloth here. We're going to put T-posts and string our shade cloth over the top because this definitely won't like the sun later on. Now our peppers here, our last ones that we put out, this is our hot ones. Those are yellow scorpions, and these are our habaneros that are right here. They're starting to go. And our globe artichokes are really filling out. I don't think it'll be long. They'll start to blooming. They seem to be doing really well. The blueberries down here are producing good. We've been harvesting some of these. Some are bigger than others. We did get this all weeded down here, which was a good thing, but they're just loaded up. Some of these that are earlier are really doing good, ready to be picked. We've been picking our dewberries off the fence row, keeping them from getting back over here, but we've been harvesting them. These Titan blueberries here are loaded up. I'm going to come in and I think I'm going to put a rod in the ground and kind of pull these up where they stand more upright instead of laying out. How young the limbs are, we'll get these pulled up to more of an upright position. But there are a lot of blueberries. If I knock some off when I'm tying these up, it's there still be plenty of a crop. We come down here, all of our pineapples that we had in the ground, they didn't make it. So we took them out. This row here, a few days ago, this was planted, or maybe it was yesterday, but this was planted with snowcap beans, which was one that we had just recently tried. We had bought some from Azar, a pound of them, and cooked some up. And we really liked them. It's kind of like a pinto bean, but it's much bigger. The flavor's wonderful. So we took part of those seeds, or those beans that we bought, and we planted them. They're an old heritage bean, but we planted them in here, double rows. So shouldn't be a few days, and they should be coming up. These are our lemon drop melons. They're slowly getting a hold. These plants are funny. Once they do get a hold, then they just go crazy. So it gets to be hard to maintain them. Now I do have one batch of cucumbers here, and I was reluctant to pull it out, but I don't know why. It's got roots, but something has got on this plant, and it's killed it. So we'll take that out right now. These are blooming. They have male and female flowers, so they will be putting on fruit here not too long, probably within the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe we can harvest. We'll come around here in the greenhouse. We have this bare row here, and I was talking about planting some green beans in it. We'll keep some that's inside. Maybe they'll stay longer. We're going to have it harvest out probably almost all these cabbages this week. We might leave one or two so we can spread out and have them there. They will get much larger, but we have been fighting aphids off in this area, but we can interplant here and start some seed depending on what we want to grow to stay in where it's cooler, because certain things don't do good. We've been going through our citrus trees, deciding what we want to keep and what we don't. Now we have had some aphids on some of these, and I tried the spinosad neem oil, and the neem oil really didn't take care of them, and so we went with some Parethion. So they should be in great shape now. But we had about 3 of them that way. We're trying to get this sorted out so we can get this bed ready and do some planting. Our beets are coming along. They still haven't formed any beets. Well, I say they haven't. They are starting to form beets, but they don't have any of any size. They're all just small beets down in there. So it won't be long. They'll get on up there now. I had one of my neighbors that comes up and gardens and buys produce here too. She asked, was I going to thin these? And I told her, no, I don't, because when I have these, it's a little thicker. I thin them as I go, and that extends the harvest season. Now I have put some of the plants that are my rejects. I say they're good plants, but I'm trying to pick the best out of the different varieties that I have. And I put the rest and line them up here on the side, let them grow and get full sun. But the same thing with our red beets. I did see a couple in there that Could be harvested, but there's not really enough to do anything with. So right now we'll just let them go some more. This is our next batch of cilantro that we'll be harvesting possibly in the next week or two. More trees scattered out, and now we're getting narrowed down on our fig trees. For those that go to the market and just wanting a fig tree, we still have a pretty good amount of varieties, but we're running out. These and just about 12 more is all we have. And so if you're looking to get a fig tree and you're putting it off, you might need to think about it and go ahead and take care of getting it. We'll be picking the rest of our slips, harvesting them today and taking them to the market. That'll be the last for the season. I did get a few more herbs, and it looks like the wind wants to turn that one over. I got some purple sage, and I got 2 different varieties of lavender to add to my collection. My jasmine's looking like it's doing fine, so it won't be long. We'll be getting that stuff put out. We have a few more fig trees there. And our bananas are doing good. They're still trying to grow up taller. No sign to me yet that they're ready to flower. Now, my red pears that I was growing from seed, I didn't water good, which this one here is gone. It looked like it got dry rot, and this one here is probably going to do the same. This one looks like it will survive. It's probably getting time that I need to move it to a bigger container because so I can keep water better. Our carrots are doing good. They're getting up to about finger size in diameter, so it won't be long on them. Our tree must like its new area here because it's putting out 2 pups, and we'll harvest them off. Those will be the first ones to go in our new greenhouse if we ever get that done. Now, these are my French fingering potatoes. I'd dump some out. They looked like they were trying to root. I'll keep giving them time, see if we can't get a crop of them. This is my new pepper. My first seeds didn't germinate, so I did some more, but this is a Greek peperoncini, I think, peperoncini. And I wanted to try that one. We do have some lupus plants here getting ready to put out, and we do have some gourds. A few of the gourds come up. There was a multiple variety, but a lot of them didn't. And then these over here are yellow crookneck squash. And we have some bok choy and some Mitchahili. We'll try one more batch. The heat's getting pretty strong, so I don't know how it's going to do. And our parsley's doing good. It's some of the older plants that were here that grew back that we've been harvesting them. The smaller ones are still coming on. We do have some chives left, and we'll take some of these to the market. We've also we've got a few elderberries that are coming on, and these were later ones. We may take it to the market, or we may give them a little bit more time. Same thing with these ones here. They might need a little longer. We'll just have to look at them and see and make that decision. Now our orange, all our citrus are doing good. We've got a bunch of oranges set. We're hoping to get that other greenhouse built so we can get these put in here. Now we've got our air layer balls on here. We still haven't had roots. I'm doing another video on that. So once that gets ready, our lemon is definitely, it's loaded up with some lemons and it's blooming because it wants to put on some more. And this mango tree here has seemed to do pretty good. My other one is looking real rough. This one seems to be doing pretty good. I think it would do better if it was in the ground, but it's going to be one of those two that's going to go in the new greenhouse, so it's got shade cloth and won't take our direct sun in the summer. Our big old grapefruit tree that our single seed challenge from 2022. This is, it's a little over 2 years old. It's really doing good. It's liking its situation. Our purple cone flowers are starting to bloom, which is great. I always like the colors of them, and butterflies and other pollinators like them. Our chamomile is doing good. We had harvested this probably about 3 days ago, and dried some of the flowers, and so we're just waiting for another harvest. Strawberries are doing good. We've been getting a few. Of course, we can eat just about all we get off a bed this size. Let's go on back down the row here. Our one borage that we set out because we had missed putting the plant out, it is really doing good. It likes where it's at. And all our other peppers are really doing great, or a big part of them. Let's see what we got right here. Oh, this was one that I bought that said Carolina Reaper seeds, and this is not Carolina Reaper. Now, unless some tag got mixed up with me, and I don't believe so, this looks like a banana pepper, or it could be a hot banana, but it definitely ain't a Carolina Reaper. Now, we do have ghost peppers here, and they look like ghost peppers, but even though they don't have fruit, the plant looks right. But this just doesn't look right. The leaves are too big. Just wrong. Now, we are having a lot of fruit set on our tomatoes. Let's see what we got. Our cayennes here. Our cayennes are putting on a lot of peppers down in here, and these are the large cayennes, so they get pretty big. But I did eat one that was green the other day to see how warm they was, and there wasn't any heat at all yet. So I said that I'm definitely going to have to wait till they turn red. Now, this is a Martian Giant tomato, and you can see it's setting. Got a nice cluster there, and I don't know, these tomatoes get fairly large, so that's going to really be hanging on that one. It might need a support, keep it from breaking. And these are also Martian Giants. But all our peppers are really doing good. Now, our squash here, our yellow zucchinis on the end, they're doing pretty good. They did have a situation where they didn't have any male flowers, so we ended up having to pull off the fruit off it, but they do have the male flowers sitting there now. So, and then we have some more prolific squash down here and zucchinis down at the end. They're all doing good. And these here are some more of our tomatillos. Now, I think these are the purple ones. Now, the others, probably the others were the purple ones, and these were the regular green ones. But these just grow like crazy. We've been pushing these suckers in here, and they just take off and go. But I want to show you this plant here. Now, it is much smaller, but this was the one that something cut off, and I just stuck in the ground. And I want to tell you about growing. If you're tomato plant for some reason gets cut off by a cutworm or something, just pull most of the leaves off, poke you a hole there, stick it in the ground, and it'll root back in. And you can see this one is behind the other ones, but it's getting hold and it'll catch up soon. Our onions here, these were our late onions, two varieties that they're doing good. We'll start harvesting some of these for table onions. Every other one like we do on our leek and stuff, but this is kind of an experiment too, because I want to see if these will bulb and how big they get when they bulb. Now I do need to come in here and do some weeding. We have some more leek here. We went ahead and spaced this leek out a little bit further. We do have a few that are multiple leeks in there, which is fine. And these onions here were the ones that I had taken off of some of those onions that had froze and come back with a whole bunch of small onions. But they're doing good. We'll go over to this row here. These onions are starting to bulb up. They don't look as good as the others. Now these here are crystal wax, and they don't seem to do as good as some of my other sweet onions. We still have a few onions to harvest in with these cucumbers. These ones are doing good. They're crawling up. But we have, you can see how this one come up with a lot of small onions coming off the base. And that's what we planted when we planted these ones over here, just to put some more in there to fill that row up. But a few of the onions have started laying over tops here and there, and we just harvest them as they go. But most of them are still going strong, so we'll see what kind of onion they'll make. Now I can tell you on onions, when you have one, and this is actually two onions, but when you have an onion with a really big top like this right here, if this bulbs up, this will not store very long, because we found that the bigger the top growth as far as diameter, the shorter the storage life. When you have smaller tops and they bulb up, they tend to store longer. So you need to take that in consideration when you start using your onions once you harvest them. But that's where we are. I mean, things are just looking fantastic. It's looking like a garden. There is stuff growing everywhere. I love to see all the green. There is a lot of work that's been going on this last week, and it takes a little bit to keep up with it for just the two of us. But we tend to do a pretty good job, I think. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tour around the garden. I hope that this excites you, those of you that's up north that are just maybe getting started with your seedlings, getting them growing up. You're thinking about it and planning about it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more great content like this, just hit that subscribe, hit the bell, select all so you get all the notifications. Give it a big thumbs up and share this video. And as always, enjoy that gardening experience.